Part 1. You explore a medieval apothecary. Hey there, everyone. Tonight, we're stepping into a strange world, a world where beauty is both bizarre and dangerous. Medieval people chased the perfect look, using potions and rituals so odd they might give you goosebumps. Picture this. You're standing in a small apothecary shop, the dim light casting a soft glow, the air thick with the smell of dried herbs, and a faint sour tang around you. Shelves are packed with mysterious jars of cream, glass bottles filled with cloudy liquids, and bundles of roots that look like they were yanked from a witch's garden. The apothecary, a wiry old man with ink-stained fingers, flashes you a smile. He holds up a tiny jar of cream, claiming it'll make your skin smooth as a saint's halo. You're not so sure, especially when you catch a whiff of it. It smells like rotten fish. Honestly, if you had to try medieval beauty treatments, you'd probably sprint to a modern cosmetics aisle faster than you could say moisturizer. So, before you get too cozy, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel, but only if you really want to. I'd also love to know where you're watching from and what time it is there. Drop a comment, will you? Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for some gentle white noise. And let's dive into tonight's journey. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss these fascinating adventures. You step closer to the counter, your shoes scraping against the uneven wooden floor. The flickering candlelight sends shadows dancing on the walls. The jars of strange ingredients look downright eerie. You notice a small clay pot with a label scrawled in messy Latin. Something about whale oil and rosewater. The apothecary catches you looking and chuckles softly, his voice low and soothing, as if trying to lull you into trust. Here, my friend, he says, this is the secret to flawless skin. The noble ladies at court swear by it. You raise an eyebrow, not entirely convinced, but intrigued. Flawless skin in the Middle Ages was the ultimate goal, a symbol of wealth, purity, and divine favor. Unlike today, when you can pop into a pharmacy for skincare solutions, medieval people had to get creative. And by creative, I mean wildly bizarre. Let's set the scene. It's the late 14th century in a bustling English town. The streets outside the apothecary are muddy, the air heavy with the smell of wood smoke and livestock. Passers-by are wrapped in rough woolen cloaks. Beauty standards here are brutal, especially for high-born women. Smooth, clear skin isn't just vanity, it's a social necessity. A single blemish could be seen as a curse, or, worse, a sign of poverty. So, you're willing to try anything to get that porcelain white complexion, even if it means slathering on something that smells like the bottom of a fishing boat. The apothecary hands you the jar of cream. You dip a finger in, and it's greasy, with a faint shimmer, maybe from the whale oil. Or maybe it's just the candlelight playing tricks. You rub a bit onto the back of your hand. It feels like smearing lard on your skin. Not the luxurious spa treatment you'd hoped for, but you're committed now. Historically, medieval skincare was a mix of herbal remedies and guesswork. A well-documented practice from the 14th century involved using rosewater, distilled by monks in monastery gardens, as a base for cosmetics. It was believed to cleanse the skin, tying into the era's obsession with spiritual purity alongside physical beauty. But here's a lesser-known detail. Some medieval recipes called for ground pearl powder in creams. The wealthy thought the pearl's luster would magically transfer to their skin. Imagine crushing your mother's favorite necklace to smear on your face. That's a serious beauty budget. Historians still debate whether these pearl-infused creams were purely symbolic, or if people genuinely believed they worked. There's no clear answer. But I'd bet the placebo effect, plus a touch of fantasy, played a big role. You rub the cream onto your cheeks, and the apothecary nods approvingly. Give it 2 weeks, he says, and you'll look like you've never seen the sun. That's the goal. Pale skin was the ultimate marker of beauty, a sign you didn't toil in the fields like a peasant. But as the cream sinks in, your skin starts to tingle, and not in a good way. You glance at the jar's ingredients: whale oil, rosewater, and something called vitriol essence. You're no chemist, but that sounds suspiciously like sulfuric acid. You shoot a look at the apothecary. He shrugs. Beauty is pain, my friend, he says, with a sly grin. Well, he's not wrong, but you're starting to think medieval beauty might be more painful than you bargained for. If this is the price of looking good in the 14th century, you might just pull up your hood and call it a day. The tingling turns into a slight burn. You're almost certain your face is about to melt. You grab a cloth from the counter and wipe off as much cream as you can. But the greasy residue clings stubbornly to your skin. The apothecary chuckles again, clearly used to this reaction. First time he asks. You nod, trying to play it cool. But inside, you're wondering if you'll ever get used to medieval beauty treatments. If your friends saw you now, they'd probably say, you've taken natural skincare to a whole new level, or maybe a whole new low. You can't help but laugh at the absurdity of it all. You're trying to become a medieval beauty. But instead, you feel like a walking fire hazard with a side of vinegar stench. You take a deep breath, the smoky air of the apothecary filling your lungs, and brace yourself for the next step in this bizarre beauty journey. The apothecary winks at you, as if he knows exactly what's coming. And honestly, you're not sure you're ready for it. Part 2. You apply the white powder mixture. You leave the apothecary. The burning sensation on your face finally easing. But the sour vinegar smell clings to you like an uninvited guest. You step onto the muddy street. The bustling crowd of a 14th century English town swirling around you. They don't notice you, but you feel their scrutinizing glances. Your skin still isn't white enough. Not up to the beauty standards of this era. Remember that whale oil cream, the one that stung your face. You wiped it off. But the apothecary's words about pale skin being everything, proof of nobility, untouched by the sun, like the poor farmers, echo in your mind. You want to try again. Despite the first attempt going poorly, you glance around and spot a group of noble women approaching. Their dresses vibrant in blues and deep reds, clearly expensive. Their skin is snow white, almost unreal. You wonder how they manage it. Then you see one of them, holding a small jar of white powder. She applies it to her face with delicate strokes, like painting a masterpiece. You step closer. She glances at you, her expression slightly haughty, but she offers a faint smile. You ask what it is? This, she replies, is our secret to the ghostly pale skin of courtly ladies. She hands you the jar. It's heavier than you expected, with a faint, earthy smell. Not unpleasant, like the whale oil cream, but reminiscent of chalk. You take a bit on your fingers. The mixture is thick and opaque white. You rub it onto your cheeks, and it feels cool, like spreading clay on your skin. She nods approvingly. Very good, she says. You'll look like you've never seen the sun. You catch your reflection in a nearby shard of broken glass. Your skin is starting to look whiter. But something's off. It's unnatural. Like you've rolled in flour. If your friends saw you now, they'd probably say you look like a ghost ready to haunt Halloween night. Historically, the obsession with pale skin was a major part of the Middle Ages, especially in Europe, from the 13th to 15th centuries. Records from English courts, like those of noblewomen under King Edward III, show they often used powder mixtures to lighten their skin. These powders were typically made from rice flour or talc mixed with minerals, believed to signify purity and wealth. as only those who didn't toil outdoors could maintain such pallor. But here's a strange detail. Some medieval powder recipes included cow urine, thought to brighten skin faster and make the powder last longer. Imagine slathering that on your face without knowing the ingredients. Historians still debate whether cow urine was widely used or just a rare recipe in medical texts. I suspect only the most desperate tried it. You keep applying the powder, the layer thickening on your face. It feels heavy, like wearing a mask. The noblewoman watches you, instructing, you must apply it evenly, or your skin will look patchy, like a peasant's dress. You try to follow her advice, but the powder starts flaking off, tiny bits falling onto your clothes, like early winter snow. You wonder how they endure this all day. Their faces weighed down, constantly worrying about the powder shedding. She laughs. You'll get used to it. She says, beauty is an art that takes time. You nod, but inside, you're not so sure. You glance at the crowd around you. A few others have unnaturally white skin too. It's not just women. Noble men also lighten their faces to flaunt their status. You spot a man in a fur-lined hat, his skin as pale as a plaster statue, giving you a haughty look, as if to say, you're not quite on his level. You turn back to the noblewoman. She's now dabbing powder on her neck and the backs of her hands, explaining that every exposed patch of skin must be white, or people will think you're a fraud, a peasant posing as nobility. You nod, but the powder is starting to irritate your skin, making it dry and itchy. You want to scratch, but don't dare, afraid of ruining the layer. You tell yourself that if beauty means itching all day, you'd rather get a sunburn. She glances at you, as if reading your thoughts, and says, don't worry, you'll get used to it in a few days. You force a smile, hoping she's right. But deep down, you just want to wash this powder off as soon as possible. You walk with her through the bustling market, where vendors shout to hawk their wares: fresh fish, hot bread. You notice a few people staring, whispering to each other. No doubt about your ghostly white face. A child points and shouts, Mom, look, a ghost. The mother quickly pulls the child away. But you heard it. Your cheeks flush. But thankfully, the powder hides your embarrassment. The noblewoman beside you giggles. Don't mind them, she says. Children don't understand. But you're not sure if you want to keep up with this bizarre beauty trend. You look at her. Her skin is perfectly white. Not a single patch uneven. You wonder if she ever itched or got called a ghost like you are now. You stop near a market stall run by an old woman, her eyes curious as she looks at you. Young lady, she says, using white powder. Are you? You nod. She smiles, her teeth missing a few. In my day, we did that too. But I gave it up. It itches terribly, and sometimes it makes your skin moldy. You freeze moldy skin. You glance at the noblewoman, who shakes her head. Don't listen to her, she says. She's just jealous because she's no longer young and beautiful. But you're not convinced. The old woman's words echo in your mind. You look at your hands, the powder still flaking off in patches. You wonder if you should keep going or stop now, before your skin really does mold. Like she said, you take a deep breath, the smell of wood smoke from the market filling your nose. You look at the noblewoman, still applying more powder, as if nothing happened. You tell yourself you need to be more patient. Medieval beauty isn't easy. You've tried the whale oil cream, and now the white powder, both strange, both uncomfortable, but you're still curious about what else medieval people did to achieve perfect beauty. You glance around. The market is alive with vendors shouting, children running, and you, with your unnaturally white face, are preparing for the next step in this beauty journey. unsure of what lies ahead. Part 3. You hesitate. Before the jar of white lead, you stand amidst the bustling market. Your face ghostly pale from the layer of powder, still itching uncomfortably. Tiny flakes of the powder fall onto your clothes, making you look like you've rolled in flour. Remember the noblewoman from earlier? The one who gave you the jar of white powder. She's moved on. But not before handing you another jar. Smaller and heavier. She said, if you truly want radiant white skin, this is the real secret. You look at the jar in your hand. The label is written in tiny script. Hard to read. But one word stands out, lead. Your heart sinks. Lead. You know what it is. Even in the Middle Ages, people used it. But you also know it's dangerous. The noblewoman mentioned something about this being used at court by the most elite, but you're not sure if it's worth the risk. Your skin is already pale, though patchy. Do you need to be even whiter, or are you just putting yourself in danger? You pop open the lid. Inside is a thick, creamy substance, opaque white with a metallic sheen, faintly shimmering. Unlike the flowery powder from before, its smell is different too, metallic, like wet earth. You scoop a bit onto your finger. It's cold, slick, but heavy, as if you're holding something that shouldn't be smeared on your face. You hesitate, glancing around the market. People are busy buying and selling, laughing and talking. But you feel eyes on you, maybe because of your chalky face, maybe because of the jar in your hand. An old woman selling vegetables nearby shakes her head. Don't use that. To girl, she says. It'll kill you. You startle. Looking at her, she continues. I've seen plenty of folk use white lead. They fall ill. Their skin turns grey. Their teeth drop out. A chill runs through you. But you wonder if she's exaggerating. Historically, the use of white lead in cosmetics was a terrifying reality in the Middle Ages. From the 12th century onward, records from Europe, especially England and France, show noblewomen using white lead, known as ceruse, a mixture of lead and vinegar, to create a smooth, perfectly white coating on their skin. But the cost was steep. Lead seeped through the skin, causing poisoning that led to headaches, hair loss, and even death. Here's a strange detail. Some women mixed white lead with mercury to make the coating last longer and shine brighter. Mercury caused the skin to peel, giving the illusion of fresh skin, but in reality, it damaged it further. Historians still debate whether medieval people knew lead was toxic, or if they ignored the signs because beauty outweighed health. I think they likely knew, but societal pressure pushed them to take the risk. You stare at the jar of white lead cream, your hand trembling. The old vegetable seller is still watching, her eyes stern, but concerned. You ask, "Are you telling the truth?" She nods. I don't lie. Girl, I saw a young woman, beautiful as a flower, but after years of using lead, her face turned grey as ash. She couldn't stand straight, and then she died. You swallow hard. Her story echoes in your mind. You think of the noblewoman from earlier, her skin flawlessly white. But now you wonder if she's paying a price, perhaps falling ill without you knowing. You glance around. A nobleman passed by, his skin white as a statue, but you notice his eyes are bloodshot, his hands trembling. Is it the lead? You're not sure. But fear starts to creep in. You turn back to the old woman and ask, "If I don't use this, how can I get pale skin?" She smiles, a kind smile, and says, "You don't need to look like a ghost. Girl, natural skin is beautiful, but if you must, use rice powder, like my mother did. It's safer." You nod. her words calming you. But you're still curious about those who use white lead. You look at the jar in your hand, thinking maybe you'll try just a little, just once, to see what it's like. You dab a bit of the cream onto the back of your hand. It's cool but stings slightly, like something eating into your skin. The cream makes your skin whiter than the flowery powder. But it feels wrong. Your skin starts itching, worse than with the powder. You quickly grab a cloth to wipe it off. But the white lead cream clings tighter than you expected. You have to scrub hard, and your skin turns red, burning. The old woman shakes her head. I told you, she says. You nod, feeling foolish. You knew it was dangerous, but tried it anyway. If your friends saw this, they'd probably say you're brave or crazy for smearing poison on your face just for pale skin. You give a weak laugh. But inside, you're relieved. You stopped in time. You look at the old woman and thank her. She nods. Stay healthy. Girl, she says, beauty isn't worth your life. You set the jar of white lead down, not wanting to carry it any longer. You glance around the market. People are still busy. But you feel lighter. Having escaped a danger, you think of the noblewoman, still using white lead, still risking her health. You wonder if there's a safer way to achieve the pale skin medieval people dreamed of. You spot a young woman with pale skin, not ghostly, but soft. She's applying something that looks like rice powder. Just as the old woman suggested, you step closer, wanting to ask, eager to learn more about medieval beauty secrets. No matter how strange they are. You take a deep breath, the smell of wood smoke and fresh fish from the market filling your nose. You're ready for the next step in this journey. Part 4. You pluck your eyebrows, clean you street, and in the bustling market. The smell of wood smoke and fresh fish lingering in the air, the white powder and the jar of lead cream left a lasting impression. But you've decided against using them. Thanks to the old vegetable seller's warning, you feel relieved. Your skin still itches slightly, but at least you're not smearing poison on your face. You glance around. The crowd is lively. Vendors shouting their wares. A young woman passes by, her skin naturally pale, using rice powder, as the old woman suggested. You smile, thinking that might be a safer route, but you're still curious about what else medieval people did to achieve perfect beauty. You wander through the colourful market stalls and then spot a group of noblewomen gathered near a corner. One of them is holding a small pair of tweezers, plucking her eyebrows, not just a few stray hairs, but removing them entirely. You're stunned and step closer to get a better look. The noblewoman with the tweezers notices you and smiles confidently. Want to try? She asks. It's the latest fashion, high foreheads and no eyebrows. It makes you look refined. You study her. Her forehead is indeed high. Not a single eyebrow hair in sight. She looks strange, but oddly aristocratic. You glance at the others. They're the same. No eyebrows. Unusually high foreheads. You wonder why they do this. She hands you the tweezers, saying, "Go on. Try it. It doesn't hurt much." You take them, your hand trembling slightly. You peer into a nearby shard of broken glass. Your eyebrows are thick and natural. You're not sure if you should pluck them clean. But you're curious to understand why this is a medieval trend. Historically, the fashion for high foreheads and no eyebrows was widespread in Europe from the 14th to 15th centuries. Records from English courts and paintings from the period, like those by artists such as Hans Memling, show noblewomen plucking their eyebrows completely and even shaving the front of their hairline to create the illusion of a higher forehead. A high forehead was seen as a symbol of intelligence and refined beauty, accentuating the eyes and elongating the face. But here's a strange detail: some women didn't just pluck their eyebrows, They used quicklime mixtures to permanently remove them. Quicklime is a caustic substance that can cause severe burns if mishandled. Historians debate whether quicklime was a common practice or limited to a few beauty-obsessed individuals willing to take extreme risks. I suspect only the boldest tried it. You hold the tweezers, touching your eyebrow, and pluck the first hair. A sharp sting makes you wince. The noblewoman laughs. You'll get used to it, she says. Keep going. You take a deep breath and pluck another hair. Then another. Each tug stings. But there's a strange thrill, like you're transforming into someone else. You check the glass shard. Your eyebrows are thinning. Your forehead appearing higher. But you look odd, like an unfinished painting. You wonder if you're going too far. The noblewoman nods approvingly. Good, she says. Pluck them all off, and you'll look like a true lady. You press on despite the pain, removing every hair from your left eyebrow. Then the right. You look in the glass again. Your face is transformed, your forehead unnaturally high. No eyebrows. You resemble the noblewoman, but you're not sure if you like it. You touch your forehead. The skin is smooth, but slightly red from plucking. The noblewoman hands you some rose water, saying, "Rub this on, it'll soothe your skin." You do, and the cool rose water eases the sting. But you still feel strange. A child passing by stares and yells, "Mom, that person has no eyebrows." The mother hurries the child away. But you heard it. Your cheeks flush, but without eyebrows. No one can see your embarrassment. If your friends saw you now, they'd probably say, "You look like an alien prepping for a sci-fi movie." You give a faint laugh, but wonder if you should let your eyebrows grow back. You turn to the noblewoman, who's adjusting her dress. She looks at you and says, "You're more refined already. But for true beauty, you need one more step." She points to your hair. Shave the front of your hairline. The higher the forehead, the better. You freeze. Plucking your eyebrows was weird enough now, shaving your hair. You look at her high forehead, partly due to her shaved hairline. You're not sure you want to go that far. You touch your hair, long and soft, painstakingly cared for. You tell yourself that plucking your eyebrows is enough. But the noblewoman keeps watching, her eyes expectant. "Don't worry," she says. "Shaving doesn't hurt." And it grows back. You nod. But inside, you're hesitant. You glance around the market. Other women have no eyebrows. Their foreheads strikingly high. One is shaving her hairline with a small knife. Her movements careful. It makes you nervous. You wonder if you're brave enough for that. You take a deep breath. The smell of wood smoke and fresh bread filling your nose. You look at the noblewoman and say, "I'll think about it." She nods. "Take your time," she says. "Beauty requires patience." You smile, relieved. Plucking your eyebrows was a big step. Maybe you need to pause before going further. But you're still curious about other medieval beauty secrets. You're ready for the next step, no matter how strange it may be. Part 5. You dye your hair with a strange mixture. You leave the market corner. Your face still flushed from plucking your eyebrows. Your forehead now looks unnaturally high, bare of any brows. The sensation feels strange, but oddly intriguing. You touch your forehead, where the rosewater soothed your skin. Remember the noblewoman who urged you to shave your hairline for an even higher forehead. You declined. Not ready to go that far, but you're still curious about medieval beauty secrets. You wander through the market, the smell of wood smoke and fresh bread lingering. A group of women stands nearby, chatting lively. One of them has gleaming golden hair, a bright yellow like summer sunlight. You pose. Looking closer, her hair is stunning. Unlike the natural hues common among medieval English folk. You step closer, eager to ask how she did it. The golden-haired woman notices you and flashes a friendly smile. You say, "Your hair is beautiful. What did you dye it with?" She laughs heartily. "Thank you," she says. "This is my secret walnut shells and ash." You're surprised. Walnut shells and ash? That doesn't sound like hair dye. She explains. "I soak walnut shells in water, mix in wood ash, and add a bit of vinegar. It turns your hair golden." You study her hair. It's golden sheen, looking almost real. But you wonder if the mixture is safe. You recall the white lead cream that nearly harmed your skin and don't want to risk another mishap. Yet this woman seems confident. She says, "Want to try? I have some mixture here." You hesitate, but nod. You want to try. To have golden hair like hers. Historically, hair dyeing was a common practice in medieval Europe, especially from the 14th to 15th centuries. Texts from Italy and England, like those by Trotula, a renowned 12th century female physician, that show women used herbs and minerals to dye their hair. Blonde was the most coveted color, symbolizing purity and divine beauty, akin to the halos in religious paintings. But here's a peculiar detail. Some medieval dye recipes included pigeon droppings, believed to add shine after dyeing. Imagine slathering that on your hair and showing it off to friends. Historians debate whether pigeon droppings were widely used or just a rare recipe in old texts. I suspect only the most beauty-obsessed dared try it. The woman leads you to a market corner and pulls out a small bowl filled with a thick, dark brown mixture. It smells unpleasant, like sour vinegar mixed with earth. She says, "Sit down. I'll apply it." You settle onto a wooden stool, and she begins spreading the mixture onto your hair. It's cold and wet, weighing your hair down. Some drips onto your shoulders, soaking your clothes. She laughs. "Don't worry," she says. "It'll dry." You nod, but the vinegar stench makes you wrinkle your nose. If your friends saw you now, they'd probably say, "You look like you dunked your head in a pickle barrel." You chuckle, but inside, you hope the result is worth it. She applies the mixture evenly, chatting as she works. Let it soak for about an hour. Then rinse it out with water. Your hair will be golden like mine. You nod, but your scalp starts to itch and sting slightly. You wonder if the vinegar in the mixture is irritating your skin. Memories of the itchy white powder and the lead cream flash through your mind. You don't want another bad experience. You ask, "Is this safe?" She nods. "I use it every month." "No problem." You feel somewhat reassured, but still uneasy. You sit there, waiting for the mixture to set. The vinegar smell growing stronger. A child runs by, sniffs the air, and shouts, "Did that person soak their hair in vinegar?" You blush, but can't do anything but sit still. After an hour, she leads you to a barrel of water. "Lean over," she says. "I'll rinse it." You do, and the icy water flows through your hair, washing away the thick mixture. You feel relieved as the itching on your scalp fades. She grabs a cloth to dry your hair and says, "Look." You peer into a shard of broken glass. Your hair is now golden. Not as bright as hers, but still beautiful. You smile. Proud you did it. You have golden hair like a medieval lady. But then you notice your hands, stained from the mixture, are red and irritated. You wonder if it was worth the risk just for beautiful hair. You thank the woman, and she smiles. "You look lovely," she says, "but redo it monthly, or the color will fade." You nod, but inside, you're unsure if you'll repeat the process. The vinegar smell, the itching, the red skin. It wasn't pleasant. You glance around the market. A few people look your way, whispering, perhaps admiring your hair or chuckling at the vinegar scent. You take a deep breath. The smell of wood smoke and dried flowers filling your nose. You're ready for the next step in this strange beauty journey. Part 6. You apply perfume, made from crushed beetles. You wander through the market. Your newly dyed golden hair still damp. The lingering vinegar smell from the walnut shell and ash mixture clinging to you despite rinsing. You touch your hair, soft and gleaming, the bright yellow making you smile. But the vinegar scent wrinkles your nose. Remember, plucking your eyebrows. Your forehead remains unnaturally high, bare of brows, and your skin is still pale. Though you've ditched the white powder and lead cream, you feel like you're slowly becoming a medieval lady. But there's a problem. Body odor. You've been in the market all day. Sweat soaking into your clothes. Mixing with the vinegar smell. You wonder how medieval people masked their scent, given they rarely bathed. You glance around and spot a group of noblewomen near a flower stall. One holds a tiny vial, dabbing it on her neck. A sweet fragrance wafts through the air. You step closer, eager to learn more. The noblewoman notices you and smiles. Do you like the scent, she asks? This is my perfume, made from crushed beetles. You flinch. Crushed beetles. That doesn't sound like perfume material. You ask, what kind of beetles? She explains. The red ones, called cochineal. They're crushed and mixed with rose oil and a bit of wine. It creates a sweet fragrance. You eye the vial. Small and deep red. She offers it to you. Try it. She says, it'll cover the vinegar in your hair. You smile, thanking her, and open the vial. The scent is sweet, like candy with a hint of flowers. You dab some on your neck. The cool sensation pleasant. The vinegar smell fades, replaced by a gentle sweetness. You feel more at ease. But then it hits you, beetles. You just smeared crushed bugs on yourself. Historically, perfume was a key part of medieval beauty from the 13th to 15th centuries. Records from Italy and France, such as alchemical texts, show people used various ingredients for fragrances. Roses and lavender were common, but insects were also used, especially cochineal, a small red beetle bred in medieval Spain. Crushed cochineal produced a natural red dye and was used in perfumes. Here's a peculiar detail. Some perfume recipes included pine resin to make the scent last longer. Resin's strong, pungent smell made the perfume heavier, but medieval people believed it enhanced allure. Historians debate whether pine resin was widely used, or just an experimental addition in old recipes. I suspect only those who loved bold scents dared add it. You dab on more perfume, the sweet aroma spreading. You feel more confident. The noblewoman nods. See, she says, it covers any smell. You smile. But then you notice a tingling on your neck, where you applied the perfume. You touch it. Your skin is slightly red. You wonder if the crushed beetles are irritating you. You glance at the noblewoman, who's still dabbing on more, unfazed. You ask, does this ever itch? She shakes her head. Not at all. I use it daily. You nod, but remain uneasy. Your skin is sensitive, and you've had enough trouble with lead cream and hair dye. You don't want more issues. You grab a cloth and wipe off some perfume. The tingling eases, though the sweet scent lingers. You sigh in relief, thinking maybe you're just sensitive. You look around the market. A few passers-by catch the perfume's scent. A man pauses and says, "What's that sweet smell?" You smile, feeling proud. But then he looks at you and adds, "Why's your forehead so high? No eyebrows," you blush. Once again noticed for your bare forehead. If your friends heard this, they'd probably say, "You're not just rubbing bugs on yourself, but looking like an alien with that browless forehead." You give a weak laugh, trying to brush off the comment. You turn back to the noblewoman, who's still applying perfume. Don't mind them, she says. People always talk nonsense. You nod. But inside, you wonder if you're going too far. You take a deep breath. The perfume mixing with wood smoke in your nose, making you slightly dizzy, maybe from the scent or the long day at the market. You ask the noblewoman, "Beside perfume, how else do you cover smells?" She laughs. "Bathing's best." But who bathes often? They say it strips natural oils. You're shocked not bathing much. You wonder how they manage. She continues, "Perfume's enough. Or wear scented charms." You nod. But inside, you're grateful for modern times where bathing is normal. You look at the perfume vial, thinking that maybe rubbing crushed beetles isn't so bad if it keeps you smelling fresh. You smile, ready for the next step in this bizarre beauty journey. Part 7. U Avenue Oid Bathing. According to medieval beliefs, you stand in the bustling market, the faint scent of beetle-based perfume lingering on your neck. Even after wiping most of it off, your golden hair, dyed with the walnut shell mixture, still carries a hint of vinegar. Your forehead remains strikingly high, bare of eyebrows. You've tried numerous beauty practices from white powder to lead cream, hair dye, and now perfume, but the noblewoman's words from earlier echo in your mind. Remember, she said bathing isn't good. That medieval people believed frequent bathing stripped the skin's natural oils. You're stunned. Not bathing regularly. You can't imagine how they managed. You glance around. The market is lively. The air thick with wood smoke, fresh fish, and the sweat of the crowd. You feel grimy. But if medieval people avoided bathing, maybe you should try it to understand their way of life. You head to a quieter corner of the market, where a small house stands. An elderly woman sits by the door, and you want to ask her more about medieval hygiene habits. You approach her. She looks at you, her face kind but weathered. You ask, "Ma'am, do people bathe often?" She laughs heartily, missing a few teeth. "Bathe," she says. "Who bathes much? Girl bathing weakens the body." You're surprised and ask, "How does it weaken you?" She explains. "Water opens your pores, letting bad air in, making you sick." You nod, but inside, you find it hard to believe. You glance at your body unwashed for days since arriving at the market. Sweat and dirt cling to your skin, making you itch, but she continues, saying, "We have other ways to stay clean. Wipe with a damp cloth and use perfume. Like you're wearing. You touch your neck, where the beetle perfume lingers. You wonder if wiping with a cloth and dabbing on perfume is enough to feel clean. Historically, medieval beliefs about bathing were complex. From the 13th to 15th centuries, European medical texts, like those by Hildegard von Bingen, a renowned nun and healer, suggest many believed frequent bathing was dangerous. They thought hot water opened pores, making the body vulnerable to illness, especially during plagues like the Black Death in 1348. As a result, many people, particularly the middle and upper classes, bathed only a few times a year. But here's a peculiar detail. Some medieval doctors recommended using urine to wipe the body instead of water, believing it had antiseptic and cleansing properties. Imagine wiping yourself with that just to avoid bathing. Historians debate whether this was a common practice or merely a quirky idea from a few doctors. I suspect only the most desperate tried it. You look at the old woman and ask, "So, you don't bathe?" She shakes her head. "I wipe myself with a damp cloth and use herbs to smell nice." She pulls out a wet cloth, fragrant with a mint-like herbal scent, and hands it to you. "Try it," she says. "It'll keep you clean." You take the cloth, cool to the touch, and wipe your arm. It feels refreshing, but you still feel dirty. You wonder how they tolerated this without regular baths. You wipe your neck. The beetle perfume, mixing with the herbal scent, making you feel slightly better, but not truly clean. You ask, "Don't you ever feel itchy?" She laughs. "Of course. But you get used to it. You will too." You nod. But inside, you're grateful for modern times, where bathing is routine. You glance around the market. Some passers-by carry a noticeable body odor, making you wrinkle your nose. But then a nobleman strides by, smelling faintly of roses. You wonder if he bathes, or just uses perfume. You recall the noblewoman who said bathing strips natural oils. Maybe he believes that too. You look at your body, coated in sweat and dust, itching uncomfortably. You crave a bath, but tell yourself to live like a medieval person for just one day. You wipe your arms again with the old woman's cloth, the cool sensation helping, but you still feel grimy. If your friends saw you now, they'd probably say you're brave or crazy for skipping a bath to experience medieval beauty. You give a faint laugh, but inside, you're longing for a shower. You thank the old woman, and she nods. "Stay healthy. Girl," she says, "don't bathe too much." You smile, knowing you won't follow her advice. You walk through the bustling market, the smell of wood smoke and dried flowers filling your nose. A young woman passes by, carrying a scent like your beetle perfume, but her skin looks dull, perhaps from not bathing. You wonder if there's another way to stay clean without bathing. You're eager to learn more about medieval beauty habits. No matter how strange, you're ready for the next step in this journey. Part 8. You shave your hair for a higher forehead. You wander through the market. The herbal scent from the damp cloth you used to wipe your body lingering on your hands. You've decided not to bathe today, trying to live like a medieval person, though the itchiness still bothers you. Your golden hair, dyed with the walnut shell mixture, carries a faint vinegar smell. The sweet beetle perfume lingers on your neck. Your forehead is strikingly high, bare of eyebrows. Remember the noblewoman at the market who urged you to shave your hairline to make your forehead even higher. You refused then. Not ready. But now you're curious. You glance around and spot a group of noblewomen near a fabric stall, their foreheads unusually high. One of them is shaving her hairline with a small knife. You pose, watching closely. Her forehead looks refined, as she claimed. You wonder if you should try it. You step closer, wanting to ask more. The noblewoman sees you and smiles. "Changed your mind," she says. "I told you. A high forehead is the height of beauty." You nod and ask, "Does shaving hurt?" She shakes her head. "Not at all. Just be careful not to nick your skin." She hands you a small, sharp knife, its blade glinting in the sunlight. You take it, your hand trembling. She points to your hair. "Just shave a little at the front. Your forehead will look higher, more elegant." You peer into a nearby shard of broken glass. Your hair is long, soft, and golden from the dye, a result of much effort. You hesitate, but then think you've already plucked your eyebrows clean. Shaving your hair can't be much different. You take a deep breath, place the knife at the front of your hairline, and begin to shave. Historically, the high forehead was a beauty standard in medieval Europe from the 14th to 15th centuries. Paintings and court records, such as those by artists like Rogier van der Weyden, show noblewomen shaving their front hairline to create the illusion of a higher forehead, symbolizing intelligence and refined beauty, elongating the face to match the era's ideals. But here's a strange detail: some women didn't just shave, they used arsenic mixtures to permanently remove hair. Arsenic, a toxic substance, could burn the skin and cause poisoning if mishandled. Historians debate whether arsenic use was widespread or a dangerous experiment by a few beauty-obsessed individuals. I suspect only the most daring tried it. You shave carefully, strands of golden hair falling to the ground, scattering at your feet. It feels odd, like shedding a part of yourself. The noblewoman nods. Good, she says. Keep going. You'll look like a true lady. You shave more, your forehead becoming more exposed. Higher and higher, you check the glass shard. Your forehead is now strikingly high, and with no eyebrows. You look transformed, elegant, but strange. You touch your scalp where you shaved. It's smooth but slightly red. The noblewoman hands you some rose water. Rub this on, she says. It'll soothe your skin. You do, the cool rose water easing the sting. But you still feel odd. You look at the rest of your hair. Still long, but the front is starkly different. You glance around the market. A few passers-by stare. A child points and shouts, "Mom!" That person has no hair. The mother hurries the child away. But you heard it. You blush. Once again noticed for your strange appearance. If your friends saw you now, they'd probably say, "You're competing for the highest forehead award." You give a weak laugh, trying to shrug off the comment. You turn to the noblewoman, who's adjusting her dress. She looks at you and says, "You're more refined now. But for true beauty, you need one more step." You're surprised. Another step. She points to your face. "Whiten your teeth," she says. "It'll make your smile radiant." You nod. But inside, you wonder if you're going too far. You reflect on your journey, the whale oil cream, the itchy white powder, the toxic lead cream, plucking your eyebrows, dyeing your hair with walnut shells, beetle perfume, and now shaving your hairline. Each step has been strange, each uncomfortable, but you still want to continue, to understand what medieval people did for perfect beauty. You ask the noblewoman, "How do you whiten teeth?" She smiles. "I'll show you," she says. "Use vinegar and a cloth." You nod. But inside, your wary vinegar stung your scalp during the hair dye process. And you're not sure if it's safe for your teeth. But you're curious and want to try. You take a deep breath. The smell of wood smoke and dried flowers filling your nose. Ready for the next step in this bizarre beauty journey. You look down at the golden strands of hair on the ground, feeling a pang of regret, but also pride. You've done what many medieval noblewomen did, shaved your hairline for a higher forehead. You check the glass shard again. Your face is unrecognizable high forehead. No eyebrows. Golden hair, like a medieval painting. But you wonder if this beauty is worth the cost. You touch your freshly shaved scalp. It's still slightly sore. The noblewoman, still smiling, says, "You'll get used to it. Beauty takes time." You nod. But inside, you're unsure if you want to keep pursuing these strange beauty trends. You walk with her through the bustling market. Vendors shouting to sell their wares: fine cloth, fresh fish. You notice a few people staring, whispering, likely about your high forehead. A man pauses and says, "You look refined. But why no eyebrows?" You smile, trying to seem confident. But inside, you feel shy. You've changed so much to chase medieval beauty. You wonder if it's worth it. You take a deep breath. The smell of wood smoke and warm bread filling your nose. The noblewoman beside you says, "Don't mind them. They're just jealous." You nod. But inside, you know you need to brace yourself for the next medieval beauty secret. Part 9. You scrub your teeth with vinegar. You walk alongside the noblewoman through the bustling market, your forehead strikingly high from the freshly shaved hairline, bare of eyebrows. Your golden hair, dyed with the walnut shell mixture, still carries a faint vinegar smell. The sweet beetle perfume lingers on your neck. You've chosen not to bathe today, trying to live like a medieval person. Though the itchiness nags at you, remember your previous beauty steps, from whale oil cream to toxic lead cream. Plucking your eyebrows and shaving your hairline, each step was strange, each with its cost. But now the noblewoman has mentioned whitening your teeth, saying a radiant smile will complete your beauty. She pulls out a small cloth and a tiny vial filled with clear liquid, its sour smell unmistakable. This is vinegar, she says. Use it to whiten your teeth. You're surprised, vinegar. You used it to dye your hair, and it stung your scalp. You're unsure if it's safe for your teeth. The noblewoman hands you the cloth. Dip it in the vinegar and scrub your teeth, she says. It'll make them shine. You take the cloth and open the vial, the sharp, sour smell hitting your nose. You grimace. She laughs. Don't worry, she says. It's just a bit sour, but it works wonders. You dip the cloth into the vinegar, the wet fabric reeking, making you want to sneeze. You glance at your teeth in a nearby shard of broken glass. They're not bad, but slightly stained, likely from the coarse medieval diet of rough bread and salted meat. You wonder if vinegar will really whiten them. You rub the cloth on your teeth, the sour taste spreading in your mouth. You wince as your teeth tingle, like something's eroding them. The noblewoman nods. Good, she says. Scrub harder, and you'll have a dazzling smile. You follow her advice, but it feels uncomfortable. Historically, tooth whitening in the Middle Ages was a notable practice. From the 14th to 15th centuries, European medical texts, like those by Guy de Chauliac, a renowned surgeon of the time, show people used various methods to whiten teeth. Vinegar was a popular choice due to its acidity, believed to clean stains, but the cost was high. Vinegar damaged enamel, leading to cavities and long-term pain. Here's a peculiar detail. Some medieval people mixed charcoal powder with vinegar to scrub their teeth, thinking charcoal would absorb stains. In reality, it wore down enamel faster. Historians debate whether medieval people knew about the harm of vinegar and charcoal or prioritized immediate results over health. I think they likely knew but valued beauty over long-term consequences. You scrub your teeth a few more times, your mouth filled with the sour taste, the tingling growing stronger. It feels wrong. You look at the noblewoman and ask, "Is this harmful?" She shakes her head. "Not at all," she says. "I do this weekly. My teeth are white." She smiles, revealing her teeth indeed white. But you notice some are worn, with tiny cracks. You wonder if vinegar caused it. You stop scrubbing and rinse your mouth with water from a nearby barrel. The cold water soothes the sourness. You check your teeth in the glass. They're slightly whiter, but the tingling persists. You tell yourself not to do this again. You've risked enough with lead cream and hair dye. You don't want to lose your teeth for a white smile. You glance around the market. People pass by, laughing and chatting. You wonder if they whiten their teeth. A nobleman strides past, laughing loudly, his teeth gleaming white. But you notice he's missing a few. Did he use vinegar and pay the price? You turn to the noblewoman, still scrubbing her teeth. "See," she says. "White teeth make your smile prettier." You nod, but inside, you're worried. You touch your teeth. They still tingle. If your friends saw you now, they'd probably say you're bold or reckless for scrubbing your teeth with vinegar just for a white smile. You give a faint laugh, but know you need to be more careful. You thank the noblewoman, and she nods. "Keep that smile bright," she says, "but don't overdo it." You smile, relieved by her caution. You walk through the bustling market, the smell of wood smoke and fresh fish filling your nose. A young woman passes by, her smile radiant with white teeth. But you notice she's missing a few. You wonder if there's a safer way to whiten teeth. You're eager to learn more about medieval beauty secrets. No matter how strange, you take a deep breath, the scent of dried flowers and warm bread calming you. Ready for the next step in this bizarre beauty journey, you pause near a stall where an old woman sells herbs. She looks at you and says, "Girl, your teeth are so white. What did you use?" You reply, "Vinegar." She shakes her head. "Be careful," she says. "Vinegar wears down teeth. I've seen people lose theirs because of it." You nod, her words worrying you. You touch your teeth. They still tingle. You tell yourself this is the last time you'll use vinegar for whitening. You ask the old woman, "Is there a safer way?" She smiles. "Chew mint leaves," she says. "It freshens your breath and doesn't harm your teeth." You nod, grateful, wanting to try it. But first, you're eager to explore more medieval beauty secrets. Part 10. You rub pig fat on your hands. You leave the old herb seller's stall. Her advice about mint leaves still ringing in your ears. Your teeth still tingle from the vinegar you used to whiten them. But at least you've learned not to overuse it. Your forehead remains strikingly high, bare of eyebrows. Your golden hair, dyed with walnut shells, carries a faint vinegar smell. The sweet beetle perfume lingers on your neck. You've chosen not to bathe, trying to live like a medieval person. Though the itchiness bothers you, you wander through the market, the smell of wood smoke and fresh fish filling your nose. You spot a group of noblewomen near a butcher's stall. One is rubbing something thick and creamy, opaque white, onto her hands. You step closer, curious to know what it is. She looks at you and smiles. "This is pig fat," she says. "It keeps your hands soft." You're surprised. Pig fat. That doesn't sound like a skincare product. The noblewoman offers you a small jar filled with thick, greasy pig fat. Ifin. Fishy smell noticeable. "Try it," she says. "Your hands will feel like velvet." You glance at your hands, dry and rough, likely from not bathing and the cold weather. You dip a finger into the jar. The fat is sticky and slick. You rub it onto the back of your hand, cold and heavy, like coating your skin in oil. You spread it evenly, and your skin glistens, feeling softer. The noblewoman nods. "See," she says, "pig fat is our secret." You smile, but the fishy smell makes you wrinkle your nose. You wonder how they tolerate it. She laughs. "You'll get used to it," she says. The smell fades. You nod, but inside, you're unsure if you want to slather pig fat on your hands daily. Historically, using animal fat for skincare was common in the Middle Ages. From the 13th to 15th centuries, European medical texts, like those by Trotula, a renowned female physician, show people used pig or goose fat to soften skin, especially in winter's cold, dry weather. Animal fat formed a protective barrier, locking in moisture. But here's a peculiar detail. Some medieval skincare recipes mixed pig fat with snake blood, believed to rejuvenate skin. Imagine rubbing that on your hands and shaking someone's hand. Historians debate whether snake blood was widely used or just a bizarre idea in old texts. I suspect only the superstitious dared try it. You keep rubbing the pig fat into your hands, and they do feel softer. But the greasy sensation is uncomfortable. Like your hands are coated in oil. You look at the noblewoman, who's applying more. "Put it on your elbows too," she says. "The driest spots." You follow her advice. Your rough elbows soften, but the fishy smell lingers. You wonder if there's a way to moisturize without pig fat. You think of modern times lavender-scented lotions and wish for a tube of cream, But here, in the Middle Ages, pig fat is your option. You glance around the market. Others are using pig fat too, suggesting it's a common way to keep skin soft. You look at your hands, now glossy, but you notice a slight itch beneath the fat. You wonder if it's irritating your skin, recalling how the beetle perfume made you itch. You ask the noblewoman, "Does this ever itch?" She shakes her head. "Not at all," she says. "I use it daily." You nod but remain uneasy. You rub your hands on your clothes, trying to reduce the greasiness. The itching eases, but your hands stay shiny. If your friends saw you now, they'd probably say, "You look like you dipped your hands in a vat of grease and paraded through the market." You give a faint laugh but feel a bit foolish for agreeing to try pig fat. You thank the noblewoman, and she nods. "Keep your skin soft," she says. "Winter's cold." You smile, but inside, you know you won't use pig fat again. You walk through the bustling market, the smell of wood smoke and warm bread filling your nose. A young woman passes by, her hands glossy, likely from pig fat. You wonder if there's a way to moisturize without animal fat. You're eager to learn more about medieval beauty secrets. No matter how strange, you take a deep breath, the scent of dried flowers and fresh fish calming you. Ready for the next step in this bizarre beauty journey. You pause near a stall where an old woman sells honey. She looks at you and says, "Girl, your hands are so shiny. Using pig fat?" You nod. She smiles. "I do too," she says, "but for softer, brighter skin. Mix pig fat with honey." You nod, grateful, wanting to try it. But first, you're eager to explore more medieval beauty secrets. You look at your hands, still glossy but soft. You tell yourself, pig fat isn't so bad if you ignore the smell. You smile, ready for the next strange step. Part 11. You drive o'er a fake mole on your cheek. You leave the honey seller's stall, your hands still glossy from the pig fat you applied. Your skin feels softer, but the fishy smell makes you wrinkle your nose. Your forehead is strikingly high, bare of eyebrows. Your golden hair, dyed with walnut shells, carries a faint vinegar scent. The sweet beetle perfume lingers on your neck. Your teeth still tingle from the vinegar used to whiten them. You've decided not to bathe, trying to live like a medieval person. Though the itchiness nags at you, you wander through the market, the smell of wood smoke and fresh fish filling your nose. You spot a group of noblewomen near a jewelry stall. One is drawing something on her cheek, a small, dark dot using a piece of charcoal. You step closer, curious to know what it is. She looks at you and smiles. "This is a fake mole," she says. "It adds charm to your face." You're surprised. A fake mole? That sounds like an odd idea. The noblewoman hands you the charcoal. "Try it," she says. "Just draw a small dot on your cheek or chin. It'll make you stand out." You take the charcoal, black and dry to the touch. You glance into a nearby shard of broken glass. Your face-high forehead. No eyebrows. Pale from old powder stares back. You wonder if a fake mole will make you prettier. She points to your right cheek. "Draw it here," she says. A tiny dot. You follow her advice, sketching a small black dot on your cheek. It's tiny but stands out against your pale skin. You check the glass. Your face looks different, a touch more charming. As she said, the noblewoman nods. "See," she says, "it makes you more alluring." You smile, but inside, you feel a bit strange. Drawing a fake mole for beauty, what a peculiar concept. Historically, the trend of fake moles was common in Europe from the 14th to 15th centuries. Records from French and English courts, like those of noblewomen under King Edward IV, will show they often drew fake moles to accentuate their faces, made from charcoal or herbal ink. These moles symbolized allure and sometimes status. Some believed the mole's placement revealed personality, for example. A mole on the cheek signified boldness. But here's a peculiar detail. Some women used tree resin glue to attach fake moles made from animal fur, which could last a week. Imagine sticking mouse fur on your face for a party. Historians debate whether fur moles were widespread or a rare fad among nobles. I suspect only those craving attention tried it. You study the fake mole on your cheek. It's small but transforms your face. The noblewoman continues, suggesting, if you want, draw another dot near your lips. It'll make you look mysterious. You hesitate. One mole feels strange enough, and you're unsure about adding another. You look at her. She has 2 fake moles, one on her cheek, one near her lips, looking truly captivating. But you wonder if you're overdoing it. You recall past steps: toxic lead cream, plucking eyebrows, shaving your hairline. Each changed you. You check the glass again. The mole makes you stand out, but also feels foreign. You touch your cheek. The charcoal is slightly sticky, smudging your finger. You wonder if it'll smudge easily. You glance around the market. A few passers-by look your way. A man pauses and says, "Nice mole. Girl." It makes you look charming. You smile, feeling more confident. But then, a child runs by, pointing and shouting, "Mom." That person has a smudge on their face. The mother hurries the child away. But you heard it. You blush, once again noticed for your odd appearance. If your friends heard this, they'd probably say, "You're not just slathering pig fat on your hands, but painting your face with charcoal like a living sketch." You give a faint laugh, trying to brush it off. You turn to the noblewoman, who's drawing another mole. "Don't mind them," she says. "Children don't understand." You nod. But inside, do you wonder if you should wipe the mole off? You take a deep breath, the smell of wood smoke and dried flowers filling your nose. You ask the noblewoman, "Besides fake moles, are there other ways to make your face stand out?" She laughs. "Of course," she says. "You could try bloodletting. It gives your cheeks a rosy glow." You're shocked. Bloodletting? That doesn't sound like beauty. You recall the lead cream that nearly harmed your skin and don't want more risks. But she continues, "Don't worry. It's not painful. And it works wonders." You nod. But inside, you're wary. You're eager to learn more about medieval beauty secrets. No matter how strange, you look at the fake mole on your cheek and smile. Maybe it's not so bad. Despite the teasing, you're ready for the next step in this journey. Part 12. You witness a bloodletting ritual. You stand in the bustling market. The fake mole on your cheek, still feeling strange but intriguing. Your hands gleam from the pig fat. Your forehead is strikingly high without eyebrows. And your golden hair, dyed with walnut shells, carries a faint vinegar scent. The sweet beetle perfume lingers on your neck, and your teeth tingle from the vinegar used to whiten them. You've chosen not to bathe, trying to live like a medieval person. Though the itchiness bothers you, remember the noblewoman who suggested bloodletting to give your cheeks a rosy glow. You're wary of the idea. It sounds dangerous, but you're curious to learn more about medieval beauty secrets. You follow her through the lively market to a small house. Inside, a man in a long robe holds a small knife and a wooden bowl. He's a physician. The noblewoman says, "He'll perform bloodletting for me." You stand there, watching. The physician looks at the noblewoman and nods. "Sit down," he says. "We'll begin." She settles onto a wooden chair, rolling up her sleeve to reveal a pale arm. The physician wipes his knife with a cloth and makes a small cut on her arm. Red blood drips into the bowl. You flinch, but the noblewoman doesn't wince. Calm, as if this is routine. The physician says, "Bad blood must be removed. It'll make your cheeks rosy." You glance at her cheeks. They're indeed flushed, like they've been kissed by the sun. But you wonder if bloodletting is safe. You recall the lead cream that nearly harmed your skin and don't want to take risks. Yet you're curious, wanting to understand more. Historically, bloodletting was a common practice in the Middle Ages. From the 12th to 15th centuries, European medical texts, like those based on the works of Galen, an ancient Greek physician widely followed in medieval times, show bloodletting was used to balance the body's humours. People believed bad blood dulled the skin, and removing it restored health. Rosy cheeks signalled vitality and beauty. So many noble women used bloodletting as a cosmetic procedure. But here's a peculiar detail. Some physicians used leeches instead of knives, as leeches drew blood more slowly and were thought to be less painful. Imagine letting leeches cling to your arm for rosy cheeks. Historians debate whether leeches were a widespread method or a rare practice in medieval medicine. I suspect only the boldest tried it. The physician continues, drawing more blood, then bandages her arm with a clean cloth. She stands, smiling. "See," she says, "my cheeks are rosier now." You look closely. Her cheeks have a natural flush. No powder needed. You're impressed, but still uneasy. You ask, "Does it hurt?" She shakes her head. "Not at all. Just a slight sting. It's worth it." You nod. But inside, you're unsure if you'd dare try. The physician looks at you. "Would you like to try?" he asks. You shake your head. "I'm just watching." You say. He nods. "Take your time. Not everyone's ready." You sigh in relief, glad not to be pressured. You glance around the small house. A few others wait their turn. A nobleman wants bloodletting too. "I do this monthly," he says. "It keeps me healthy." You wonder if he's truly healthier or if it's just belief. You think of modern times, where beauty doesn't require bloodletting, just a touch of blush. You feel fortunate, but you're still curious. You ask the noblewoman, "Besides bloodletting, are there other ways to get rosy cheeks?" She laughs. "Of course," she says. "Eat lots of beets. They improve blood flow." You nod, grateful. Eating beets sounds far safer than bloodletting. You step out of the house, back into the bustling market. The smell of wood smoke and warm bread filling your nose. You check your cheeks in a nearby shard of broken glass. They're not very rosy. But you don't want to try bloodletting. You notice the fake mole on your cheek, still adding charm to your face. If your friends saw you now, they'd probably say you've gone too far. Watching bloodletting for beauty. You give a faint laugh, but feel brave for experiencing so many strange things. You take a deep breath. The scent of dried flowers and fresh fish calming you. Ready for the next step in this bizarre beauty journey. Part 13. You clasp a rabbit's foot charm. For youth, you step away from the bustling market. Your cheeks still lacking that rosy glow, but you're relieved to have refused bloodletting. The fake mole on your cheek remains. Your hands gleam from pig fat, and your forehead stands high, bare of eyebrows. Your golden hair, dyed with walnut shells, carries a faint vinegar scent, and the sweet beetle perfume lingers on your neck. Your teeth tingle from the vinegar used to whiten them. You've chosen not to bathe, trying to live like a medieval person. Though the itchiness bothers you, remember your previous beauty steps, from toxic lead cream to plucking eyebrows, shaving your hairline, and drawing a fake mole each was strange. Yet you're still curious about medieval beauty secrets. You pass a small stall where an old woman sells charms, tiny trinkets dangling from cords. She looks at you and says, "Girl, I want to stay young forever." You're surprised. Forever young, it sounds like a dream. You step closer. The old woman pulls out a small charm, a dried rabbit's foot, tied with a cord. This is a rabbit's foot charm, she says. It brings eternal youth. You take it. It's light. The fur soft but odd. A rabbit's foot keeping you young, she explains. People believe rabbits symbolize fertility. Wearing this keeps your body youthful. You look at her wrinkled face and wonder if she wears one. You ask, "Do you use it?" She laughs. Missing a few teeth. "I do," she says. But youth isn't about looks. It's the soul. You nod. But inside, you're skeptical about the charm's power. Historically, superstitions about beauty charms were part of medieval culture. From the 13th to 15th centuries, European folklore, including alchemical records, shows people used charms to seek health and beauty. Rabbit's feet were popular, as rabbits symbolized fertility and vitality, believed to keep the body young and skin fresh. But here's a peculiar detail. Some rabbits' foot charms were soaked in holy water and sprinkled with animal bone powder, thought to enhance their power. Imagine wearing a charm dusted with ground bones to stay young. Historians debate whether bone powder was a common practice or a superstitious ritual in small communities. I suspect only those deeply invested in magic tried it. You grip the charm, the soft fur strange in your hand. You ask the old woman, "Does it really work?" She nods. "If you believe, it will." You nod. But you're unsure. You think of modern times, where beauty relies on science. Not charms. But here, in the Middle Ages, superstition is part of life. You tie the charm around your neck. The rough cord brushes your skin. The rabbit's foot resting on your chest. You glance into a nearby shard of broken glass. Your face, high forehead. No, eyebrows. Fake mole looks unchanged. You don't feel younger. But the ritual feels intriguing, like participating in an ancient custom. The old woman nods. You look radiant already, she says. You smile, knowing it's just encouragement. You glance around the market. A few passers-by wear similar charms. A nobleman with a large charm around his neck looks at you. Rabbit's foot. "Eh?" he says. "Good choice. It keeps me young." You nod, but notice his face is full of wrinkles. You wonder if the charm works, or if it's just belief. You touch the charm. Its fur soft. But you feel no different. If your friends saw you now, they'd probably say you've gone too far. Wearing a rabbit's foot for youth. You give a faint laugh. Pushing the thought aside, you turn to the old woman. "Still selling charms? Keep it safe," she says. "Don't lose it." You nod. Grateful, you walk through the bustling market. The smell of wood smoke and warm bread filling your nose. You touch the rabbit's foot charm on your chest, wondering if there's another way to stay youthful without superstition. You spot a young woman passing by. Radiant, but without a charm. You wonder what her secret is. You're eager to learn more about medieval beauty secrets. No matter how strange, you take a deep breath. The scent of dried flowers and fresh fish calming you, ready for the next step in this bizarre beauty journey. Part 14. The Foundation of Modern Cosmetics. As the morning light filters through the embroidered silk curtains in Lady Eleanor's elegant chamber, you stand quietly, captivated by a beauty ritual that feels both foreign and fascinating. On her intricately carved ebony vanity, an array of delicate glass vials, gleaming silver boxes, and soft feather brushes are neatly arranged. Each item seems to tell its own story, a piece of the intricate puzzle of beauty in this era. You can't help but wonder, how did these ancient practices lay the groundwork for the modern cosmetics industry we know today, Eleanor? A highborn lady in 18th century London. begins her morning by gently patting her cheeks with rosewater distilled from petals grown in her garden. The soft fragrance wafts through the air, soothing her skin after a long night. You realize that rosewater, though simple, is the ancestor of today's toner, a staple in modern skincare routines. But what truly astonishes you is the meticulous care in every step Eleanor takes. This isn't just beauty, it's a ritual, an art form, a pearly white complexion. In Eleanor's time, flawless white skin was a symbol of nobility and wealth. Laborers, toiling under the sun, bore tanned skin, while high-born ladies shielded theirs from the rays. Eleanor opens a silver box containing fine white powder, made from lead, a common but dangerous cosmetic of the era. With a rabbit fur brush, she delicately dusts the powder over her face, neck, and the exposed skin above her corset. Her complexion transforms, smooth and porcelain-like. But you shudder at the thought of lead's consequences: poisoning, skin damage, even death. You wonder how something so toxic became a beauty standard. Then you realize that people of the time didn't fully understand lead's dangers. They only knew it delivered instant beauty. And in a society where appearance defined status, that was enough, though hazardous. This use of lead powder paved the way for modern foundations. Today, instead of lead, we use safe ingredients like titanium dioxide or zinc oxide, which cover imperfections and protect against UV rays. You're amazed that, despite centuries apart, the desire for perfect skin remains unchanged. Rosy lips and flushed cheeks. Next, Eleanor turns to her lips. She opens a small box containing a mixture of beeswax and carmine, a vibrant red pigment extracted from cochineal insects. With her fingertip, she carefully applies it, creating a captivating red hue. You recognize that lipstick, whether in the 18th or 21st century, remains a focal point of the face. Fascinatingly, carmine is still used in some modern lipsticks, proving not all past practices have been forgotten. Then, Eleanor dabs the same carmine mixture lightly on her cheeks, creating a natural flush. You smile, thinking of today's convenient blush compacts, offering shades from soft pink to peachy coral. But in Eleanor's time, achieving rosy cheeks required skill and patience. Sometimes, she even used a touch of red wine for a flushed effect, a bold and creative beauty trick. Eyes that speak. Eleanor spends the most time on her eyes. She takes a graphite pencil and carefully draws a fine line along her eyelids, accentuating her deep brown eyes. You realize this is the precursor to eyeliner, a must-have in any modern makeup bag. But what surprises you more is how she lengthens her lashes. Instead of mascara, she brushes a mixture of beeswax and charcoal powder onto her lashes, making them thicker and darker. Though rudimentary, the technique isn't far from how modern mascara works. To finish, Eleanor applies a drop of belladonna, a potion derived from deadly nightshade, into her eyes. The effect is striking. Her pupils dilate, making her eyes appear larger and more alluring. But you're uneasy, knowing belladonna is toxic and can cause blindness with prolonged use. You wonder why women of the time risked their health for beauty. The answer lies in societal pressure. A woman's worth was judged not just by talent or virtue, but by her appearance. Beauty, however costly, was a key to status. Hair, the crown of nobility. Eleanor's hair is a work of art. She spends hours brushing, styling, and decorating it. First, she applies flaxseed oil to soften and add shine. With her maid's help, she crafts an elaborate updo, secured with dozens of pins and clips, to keep the style intact all day. She dusts her hair with rice starch powder, which absorbs excess oil and adds volume. You can't help but think of modern dry shampoos, which use starch for the same purpose, cleaning hair without water. What astonishes you most is how Eleanor decorates her hair. She adorns it with feathers, pearls, and even fresh flowers preserved in wax. Sometimes, she adds miniature models like a ship or a garden to showcase her wealth and creativity. You smile, noting that while we don't pin ships to our hair today, accessories like pearl clips or glittering headbands still express personal style. Perfume, the soul of allure. Finally, Eleanor completes her ritual with a drop of perfume. She chooses a small glass vial of orange blossom essence, distilled from petals in southern France. The elegant, refined scent envelops her like an invisible cloak. You realize that perfume, from Eleanor's time to now, remains a symbol of luxury. Though formulas and production have evolved, perfume's purpose, creating a personal signature and evoking emotion, endures. From past to present, as Eleanor finishes, she rises, her silk gown shimmering in the window's light, her face flawless skin, red lips, and captivating eyes embodies the era's ideal beauty. But looking at her, you see more than an 18th century lady. You see traces of modern cosmetics, from rosewater to foundation, lipstick to eyeliner. Each step in Eleanor's ritual is a brick in the foundation of today's billion-dollar cosmetics industry. You're struck by the boldness and ingenuity of women like Eleanor, who experimented, took risks, and shaped the concept of beauty. Though some practices like lead powder or belladonna make you cringe, you can't deny they paved the way for the safe, effective products we use today. The modern cosmetics industry, with its advanced technology and diverse products, testifies to humanity's long quest for beauty. From Eleanor's tiny glass vials to dazzling cosmetic stores, from lead powder to non-irritating foundations, it all stems from the wondrous, sometimes strange beauty practices of the past. Conclusion. As you leave Eleanor's chamber, you carry a sense of awe. Her beauty rituals, though risky and complex, show beauty's power to shape culture and society. You're grateful for scientific advances that let us enhance our appearance without sacrificing health. Above all, you realize that, despite changing times, the desire to feel confident and express oneself through beauty is timeless. This desire laid the foundation for modern cosmetics, an industry that not only enhances faces, but celebrates individuality and creativity. Part 15. Strange Beauty, Secrets and Gratitude for the Modern Era. As you close the door to Lady Eleanor's elegant chamber, where you witnessed a captivating, yet perilous beauty ritual, a mix of emotions wells up inside you. Awe at the creativity and boldness of women from bygone eras blends with a shiver at the thought of the bizarre beauty secrets they embraced. From toxic lead powder to drops of belladonna to dilate pupils, these methods not only reflect an intense desire for beauty, but also highlight the era's lack of safety knowledge. Returning to the 21st century, you're deeply grateful for safe beauty practices, backed by science, that allow women today to be both beautiful and healthy. Skin, from poison to nourishment. One of the strangest beauty secrets you can't forget is the use of white lead to achieve a porcelain complexion. In Eleanor's time, and even earlier, in 16th century Europe, noble women applied lead-based powder called ceruse, a mix of white lead and vinegar to hide scars, blemishes, or signs of illness. It gave an instant, flawless look. But the cost was dire. Lead seeped through the skin, causing poisoning, damaging the liver and kidneys, and sometimes leading to death. Astonishingly, ceruse was widely used for centuries, despite clear signs of its harm. You recall another tale from China's Qing dynasty, where women used pearl powder to brighten their skin. Though luxurious sounding, this powder was often mixed with toxic chemicals like mercury. Mercury smoothed the skin by exfoliating dead cells, but destroyed its structure, causing premature aging and organ damage. These practices make you shudder, yet they testify to human ingenuity in pursuit of beauty. Even without scientific understanding, today, you're thankful for safe skincare products, rigorously tested. Instead of lead or mercury, we have ingredients like hyaluronic acid for hydration, vitamin C for brightening, and retinol for anti-aging. Modern foundations not only cover flaws, but include SPF to shield against UV rays, something past noblewomen couldn't dream of. You smile, thinking that while Eleanor risked her life for pale skin, you only need a tube of sunscreen to protect and enhance lips and cheeks, from insects to innovation. Another beauty secret that both amazes and amuses you is how women of old colored their lips and cheeks. In the 18th century, as you saw with Eleanor, carmine, a vivid red pigment from crushed cochineal insects, was a popular choice. Grinding thousands of insects for a pot of lipstick feels odd, but it was a natural, relatively safe method compared to others. However, women weren't always so lucky. In ancient Egypt, lipstick was made from red clay, iron oxide, and sometimes toxic red lead. Cleopatra, an icon of beauty, reportedly used a mix of carmine and lead for her alluring red lips. While effective short-term, red lead damaged nerves and health over time. You wonder how women accepted such risks for a beautiful pout. In medieval Europe, another quirky method was biting lips or pinching cheeks for a natural flush. Some even applied beet juice or red wine to their cheeks. Though these were short-lived and often irritating, you smile at their patience. While today, a swipe of lipstick or blush creates a radiant look in seconds. Modern lipsticks are a leap forward. Advanced manufacturing offers safe, diverse colors, textures, and benefits, from long-lasting matte to nourishing lipsticks with shea butter and vitamin E. You can enhance your lips without health risks. Blushes, now made with safe talc and synthetic pigments, replace insects or toxins. You're grateful for this progress, where beauty doesn't mean sacrifice. Eyes from temptation to safety. The eyes, always a focal point, have their own strange beauty secrets. You recall Eleanor using belladonna to dilate her pupils for a seductive gaze, but bygone, or deadly nightshade, was a potent toxin, causing blurred vision, hallucinations, and even blindness with prolonged use. In Renaissance Italy, it was dubbed beautiful Lady Belladonna, with women risking their sight for large, sparkling eyes. Another secret was kohl, an eyeliner used in ancient Egypt. Kohl enhanced eyes and was thought to protect against sun and bacteria, but it often contained toxic lead sulfide, harming eyes and health. You're surprised that, despite its dangers, kohl persisted in some cultures into the 20th century. Today, safe eyeliners and mascaras have replaced these risky methods. Liquid or pencil eyeliners use harmless ingredients like carbon black and polymers. Modern mascaras, with waterproof formulas and lash-nourishing panthenol, create long, thick lashes without the beeswax and charcoal mix of Eleanor's time. You're thankful you can draw a sharp eyeliner wing or curl your lashes without worrying about toxins. Hair from laborious to convenient hair, as you saw with Eleanor, was a masterpiece. But historical hair care secrets sometimes astonish you. In 17th and 18th century Europe, women dusted their hair with starch powder to absorb oil and add volume, but it attracted insects and caused itching. Some noble women left their hair unwashed for weeks, piling on more powder to mask odors, a practice hard to imagine today. In Japan's Edo period, women used camellia oil for shine, but styled their hair with beeswax and fish oil, making it heavy and dust-prone. In ancient Africa, some tribes used red clay and animal fat for styling, both beautifying and protecting hair from heat. But these were harsh on the scalp and hard to clean. Now, shampoos, conditioners, and styling products have transformed hair care. You can cleanse your hair in minutes with sulfate-free shampoo, nourish it with argan oil, and style it with blow dryers or curling irons. No fish, wax, or clay needed. Modern hair dyes, ammonia-free, let you change colors without damage. You're grateful that hair is not just a source of pride, but easy to maintain in a busy life. Perfume and scent, from natural to synthetic perfume, as you saw with Eleanor, is the soul of allure. But historical perfume making had its quirks. In medieval Europe, perfumes often used animal essences like musk from deer or ambergris from whales. Harvesting these was cruel and costly, making perfume a status symbol. Some even included toxic ambergris, irritating the skin. In ancient India, women used sandalwood powder and jasmine for fragrance, natural but labor-intensive to prepare. You smile, thinking that while past women waited hours for a scent, you can spritz a Chanel or Dior perfume for all-day fragrance. Modern perfumes blend natural oils with synthetic compounds, offering safe, diverse scents. Chemists have crafted new notes, like aldehydes in Chanel, no, woo, for uniqueness without relying on ambergris or musk. You're thankful you can choose a scent that matches your personality without health or environmental concerns. Conclusion: gratitude for the modern era. Reflecting on these strange beauty secrets, you're amazed by the creativity and perseverance of women through the ages. They experimented, risked, and sometimes paid with their health to achieve ideal beauty. From lead powder to belladonna, insect carmine to fish wax. These practices show humanity's enduring desire for beauty, but you're deeply grateful for scientific and technological advances. Today, you can care for your skin, apply makeup, style your hair, and wear fragrance without compromising health. Modern beauty products not only are safe, but celebrate diversity, letting everyone express their individuality. Holding a moisturizer or lipstick, you feel connected to women like Eleanor, but cherish that your beauty journey is safer and easier. The odd secrets of the past are valuable lessons, reminding you that beauty lies not just in appearance, but in confidence and health. In the modern world, you can embrace beauty your way, grateful for advances that turned ancient desires into safe, vibrant reality.